Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Rogues Gallery Live. Hello, welcome back, everybody. Like I said, this is Rogues Gallery Live. This is episode number 75, and we have a very special guest tonight. We are also going to be doing our 30K giveaway live on the show, and also we have lots of photos to look at as well. But before we do that, I would like to introduce our guest tonight. He is a fantastic, amazing sculptor. His name is Amilcar Fong. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation, guys. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're so glad that you're here, and we have a lot of questions tonight, and you are willing to also answer some questions, I think, from the chat. I would imagine you are not able to really talk about things that you're working on currently. I know there's always those disclosure agreements, but you can talk about the projects you have worked on, and maybe some projects that you would like to work on in the future. So that's what we're going to be doing the first half of the show tonight. I do also want to introduce the rest of the gallery tonight. With us, as always, Mr. Jeff Morris is here with us.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, sir. And also Eric B is with us tonight.
Hey, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good week.
Doing great. And then last but certainly not least, from Wayne Manor North, and a new camera angle I see, Mr. Dan Defoe.
I got a new camera angle. I have a 4K monitor that is, it's almost disconcerting. It's so clear. You know what I mean? I feel like I can reach right into my monitor. It's bizarre, but it's awesome. New camera angle, new 1080p camera on top. So we are set up.
Very cool.
Nice.
And I see
Chris, almost have the right equipment to do that room tour.
All right. Well, that sounds great to me. About dang time, I tell you. I do happen to see some blue back there.
Yep. A little bit of blue here over my right shoulder.
Yep, there it is.
Batman Hush back there. And Batman for those in the chat who have been fortunate enough to land this product, and I am guilty of not watching Chris's review of this particular statue because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. The consternation around setting up the bats, all 13 of them. Okay, I cannot be the only moron in this group, this community, that took them all out of the packaging before noticing on the directions that they are numbered in the packaging. Right? So I kind of just mixed them all up, and it was by far the longest part about putting that statue together. Other than that, it went together great.
Well, somebody said you should do a how-to video, like how to put the bats on, and I really was going to do it, and then I said, like, screw that, like it's going to take me forever to get them all back on. It was so complicated.
Very, very stressful. Very stressful. Although they look great, and the piece is great, and thank you very much.
Well, that is awesome. I'm glad you finally got it. Let's get right into this interview because I've been dying to know some of these questions here or hear these questions answered. And again, it's just such an honor that you're here with us tonight. And it's really been really fun to watch your career grow over the last few years to see, all these amazing products that have come out from multiple companies. And so I'll just get started tonight and we'll do question number 1 here. How did you first get started in the art field, and tell us about your art background?
Well, I didn't go to any art school, but I always draw a lot. That was my main thing. I am originally from Cuba, and back in Cuba, what you had mostly was a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper. And then every now and then you get the chance to see or to watch some making of famous movies like Terminator or Jurassic Park, Aliens, or Alien. And that was my main inspiration. And I always was drawing and trying to draw over and over again those dinosaurs, aliens, whatever. Once I get here to Argentina, where I am currently living, like 20 years ago, I got the chance to get the internet and a computer. and then all my career, I mean, not my career, because the first 10 years living here in Argentina, I was working as a physical therapist. That was my another professional background. And then I was able to do the switch and become a professional concept artist. Then working for Sideshow in a studio here in Argentina, I got the chance to start sculpting traditionally using Sculpey, Super Sculpey, and learn how to do that in the process. And I did several projects for Sideshow. And right in that time, I started to work as a concept artist for Code of a Dead, the original line for them. And after that, I started to how to say find interest in exploring the digital realm, which is ZBrush. And little by little, step by step, I started to learn that, and then. Until 3 years ago, I became a professional digital sculptor. Yeah, sort of. Yeah,
that's so awesome, and it's interesting. Whenever I was, doing a little bit of research for the show, I saw a lot of footage of you just illustrating, and I always think I never really think of the illustration side of things, where I just think, well, people get on ZBrush or they get, they just start. And so it was really cool to see you do all of those Court of the Dead illustrations, specifically. So there's a lot of talent that carries through in different ways. So it's really, really neat, I think.
Thank you.
You mentioned sculpting, and so I'll pass this next question on to Jeff. And if you want to hit that question, Jeff, number 2.
Well, this you pretty much answered it. If you sculpt traditionally or digitally, and what are the challenges of using that medium? But sounds like you started with one and do both now.
Yes. Traditionally was always in my mind. I remember stealing from the teachers at school, whatever it is that they use, the charcoal. I don't remember how to say that in English.
Yeah,
like
that they
pastels. Yeah, the pastels. Yeah, I used to steal those from the teacher, and with a sort of a knife, I started carving that. So the 3D realm was always interesting for me, even when my main focus was drawing. But really, really professionally, I started to do it once I got here to Argentina, probably 10 years ago. I'm 44 right now, so it was about when I was 34 years old. And traditionally, the main thing is you have to do everything. There's no symmetry like in ZBrush or in Maya, any digital program. You have to do everything 2 times in a way to say it. So there's no shortcut, there's no alpha, there's no buying something from a page that you can use or something that you did previously mostly of times. So especially for me, because for example, the first project that I did for Sideshow was an alien warrior bust. And the second one is a predator, wolf predator bust. And it's like I cannot use anything that I used for Alien, the Alien bust, in the predator, the wolf predator bust. So you have to start over from zero. When only sometimes, what you did before in digitally, you can reuse it somehow in the next one. So the challenge is, and traditionally is that you have to do everything almost from zero. And digitally, the challenge is that you are never sure of the result until you have the printing, until you have that in your hands.
Yeah.
And that's something tricky. You adapt yourself, you adapt your mind to learn how to interpret the volumes on a screen, because one way or another, it's just the computer or the screen or the program are tricking your mind. But it's something that you have to really learn in the process that, okay, I thought that it was correct on the screen, but when you see it printed, it's not that correct. So it's a little bit tricky, but yeah, those are the challenges mainly.
So you mentioned the Predator bust. We have some photos to look at. I'm just going to put them over the screen here. So it's really interesting to see.
Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, there you are.
Go ahead.
That's right. We'll just make sure he's still back there. Okay, so anyway, kind of walk us through what this process is like for you. Obviously you're designing the base here. Did you pencil sketch all this in, like kind of what you wanted it to look like? Did Sideshow kind of give you an art direction? Like, kind of walk us through that.
Yes, in that particular bust, I did at the beginning at Sideshow as a concept artist. I did a lot of designs for busts. Before they discovered my, let's say, tendency for horror and creatures and creature design, they just knew that I was able to draw more or less well. So in this particular case, I designed the base roughly, and more or less what was the expression of the wolf predator that we wanted, that we were looking for. So I did the design, and they approve it. Obviously, I don't know who's the owner of the franchise, but they approve it too. And based on that, I started working on that. Yeah, the materials that you saw on those two previous photos were mainly aluminum wire and epoxy, right? And the plastic that the base has some sort of I don't know how to say that in English, but it's a sort of a hard plastic that you heat, and then you can mold it into the position and keep it there.
That's awesome. So you said this is epoxy, and
That's
then when you get to this point, is that also epoxy, or are you like
that's super sculpty? Yeah,
Sculpty.
That's super sculpty. Yeah, in this case, the medium one, the soft one, yeah, which is pink. That's why the color. Yeah,
it's really neat, and you can see here even more detail as you continue to progress. Now, the entire time that you're sculpting, do you give Sideshow updates? Like, do they check in with you, like to see kind of, did they say, oh, we like this, can you tweak that? Did they do any of that stuff?
Yes, the process was really, for me, the Wolf Predator was a dream come true project in a way, because for me, that's the best Predator. That's my preference, let's say. And every week, every 2 weeks, we send images. Hey, what do you think about that? What do you think about this? This is where we're going, etc., etc. So they have to approve. Yeah, we like it. We don't like it. Pay attention to this. In this case, I was trying so hard, guys, to pay homage. Is that the way to say it?
Homage.
Homage
Yeah.
to the film, to the guys that work on that, to the designer. I was basically sculpting that one for myself. Not because I didn't want it to do it for the collectibles or for the company, but I was doing it like if I would buy that one and have it in my house,
Yeah.
Well, it turned out really nice, as you can see, incredible detail here, and it's really neat that you've done both traditional and digital. I just think that's really neat, and Do you have a preference between the two? Like, if you could only do one, like, do you have one of your favorite?
Let me show you what I'm doing right now in traditionally, right? Maybe you don't see it that well, but it's sort of a sort of a invention, surrealistic alien spaceship with bony characteristics and a sort of a Giger aesthetic. I prefer. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to say, because sometimes I missed a lot traditionally, a lot. I suffer because of that. But at the same time, I know that if I would be sculpting all the time traditionally, I would end up missing the digital realm. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's awesome. I had a train of thought. Oh, I was going to say that we have a whole bunch of more examples of your work that we'll get to just in a little bit. We'll do more of the digital sculpting at that point. So let's move on to. Oh, I did want to. Somebody asked earlier. Let me see if I can go back and find it. Carl says, "What part of the anatomy is the hardest part to sculpt?"
Oh, the whole anatomy theme, Carlos. Thank you for the question. Is how to say that? It's a live homework, lifelong homework. You never feel comfortable. Usually, what I do with the projects, for example, the Scarecrow, I did the anatomy for XM. I did the anatomy over and over, and people do not know. They maybe think that I just did it, get it, and in 2 months that's it, or 1 month. I spent 4 months on that guy. It's like I have to do it. I have to. I'm never sure about that because you have to understand that, or maybe we have to understand that the masters of traditional sculpture, I'm talking about Rodin, I'm talking about Michelangelo, I'm talking about, all the masters from the Renaissance period, they spend their whole life, artistic life, trying to master anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes companies ask you to do a masterpiece in 3 months. And it's like, how can I do that? How can I do that? So, but anyway, Carlos, it's, I would say for me, I'm going to say this, Carlos, or Carl, I'm going to say this, the head and the hands are very, very important for me. Those are I never get tired. Every time I do a statue, I start those from zero. I don't use what I've done before. I do it from zero because I need to find the gesture. I need to find how the anatomy really serves to the character. That's for me and also that's the fun part. It's not just reusing and doing over and over again the same. It's just finding the character inside that sculpt, that bulb of digital clay, let's say. So it's part of a process. That's the part that I enjoy the most.
Well, and that makes so much sense to me because to me the most important part of statues are the heads. Like that's the focal point. If the head's wrong, sometimes the statue itself suffers, or the hands, because it has to be.
The Batman I did for Sideshow.
It's like and art is always subjective. We talk about that on the channel. Like, what somebody loves might not, somebody else might not. And so it's how you relate to the art. And that also, I would imagine, is very difficult because, what somebody might love, somebody next to you might hate. Like, it's crazy, Exactly.
Yeah. One of them, the hardest thing is to do something that almost everyone loves. And I think that takes a little bit of vision. Mm-hmm. It's not just because, like you said, Chris, you might do let's say a Batman face or head that might be sculpted and anatomically perfect, but not being the cup of tea for everyone. Mm-hmm. And maybe everyone says like, yeah, that's cool. That's very well executed, but it's not my Batman. I mean, Who is Batman? Yeah. We all have our Batman in our heads.
Right.
It's like, I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult, like you said, Chris. Yeah.
It is. It is. Well,
it's a challenge.
Yeah, it is. I can imagine that. Absolutely. Let's move on to question number. Oh, sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
Sorry. Before you move on, I just have to tell Amilcar that the hands on that XM Scarecrow are off the charts good.
And the feet.
I mean, good.
Thank you.
Incredible.
They're so gnarly.
I wish we could have time to talk about that. I wish we could have time to talk about that because can we spend 5 minutes on that, Chris?
Oh, yes.
Can we,
guys? Yeah. Let's just go.
Let's do it. Yes, let's do it. So
we'll go right into Scarecrow. Let's do it.
All right, there you go. So the point with the hands is that for me, the character the way I saw it, because I had to design and I had to do the whole background story about this character, because I didn't know anything about the Scarecrow other than, oh yeah, he's a thin guy that is a specialist in chemistry, and a chemistry that makes people realize or see the worst fears in life. Okay, so that's pretty much Scarecrow, right? Using the gas, the green gas, and dressed like a Scarecrow. That's it. So what I was trying to do is to, okay, how can I fit this guy with these characteristics into the realm of the Batman, Neo, Tokyo, samurai line. So what I did was inventing and creating, at least for me, a background story for that guy. So in my mind, as you can see, the hand that is in front there, he has one of the fingers bent up. Is that the way to say it?
Yes.
Yes. So it's because he is deformed, and originally he had even some fingers, other fingers on both hands that were like, because for me he was I was referencing people with leper.
Oh.
So for me, he was a very deformed, really scary guy.
Mhm.
And guys from XM say that's way too far. That's way too far. You have to go back. So what I did was trying to recall all the knowledge that I have from my physical therapist past, and remember all the old ladies and old people that usually have deformity on their hands because of arthritis,
Yep.
or some kind of disease like that, on the joints. So we can see using that as the how his mind is, because the guy is really obsessed with Batman. So I needed to express that with the hands. When you see those hands, in this character, you have to be like a witch, like a sorcerer, but really, really deformed. Look at that hand; it's like twisted, and that's for me almost like speaks from or of or about the mind of the character. So, and that's why you see on the left hand, the right hand of a character is all twisted, and the feet, when you see the feet, they one of them, the left one, is has some sort of inflammation. Is that the way to say it?
Yeah.
When you have some sort of a liquid that cannot drain from normally from your system. So that's why he has the left foot bent with bends, because he's how to say with inflammation in a way. So all that kind of stuff is remember that I had only the hands and the face, and a tiny bit, a little bit of the face, to talk about his personality per se, like naked, who he is.
Did you design the entire thing, or did you work with others on this project?
Well, I work with Martin Augusta, who is our director at XM, and also Ansen. For sure, they told me, like, for example, the case of the hands. Oh, that's way too far. Go back. Is too creepy. Is too whatever. But mostly, I would say 90% of the guy was designed and conceptualized by me.
Having that piece in hand in the Batcave, like, first of all, no photo can really capture how good it is. I really, really loved it. It was hard to send it back. It actually went to New York Comic Con. So I know the one that Eric saw, that was the one that was in the cave. And
and by the way, the base, this is something interesting. I mean, I think it is interesting. That guy that you see there is the way Batman sees himself, as a demon bat.
Yes.
But at the same time, this guy is a very ancient entity, demonic entity from the Shintoism, that this guy Scarecrow was able to imprison with that mask. And when you see the mask, those protrusions, those kind of stuff, metal stuff that the mask has, are the same that the Scarecrow has on the vessels on his backs. So what he did was to imprison through dark magic that demonic entity to use it against Batman.
It's really cool. The base on that was one of my favorite parts. Like it had such a good storytelling element to it. And it's really neat because you obviously, like you said, you created this whole backstory of this character. And it's unfortunate that a lot of times we don't get that story. Like we don't always know it. You know, the companies don't always relay that story to us, which is too bad because it's neat to see what inspires the artist and, you know, what that story is. And it makes the statue come alive even more, I think.
Yeah. And the reason why the base has a Batman symbol is because it's a sort of a pagoda. I don't know how to say that in English, but it's a sort of a, how to say, a construction for the Batman family that somehow they use that logo, because in the very important family in Japan, they usually use in the past a sort of a symbol, right? Sometimes it's a lot of flowers, sometimes it's something else. Well, the family from Bruce Wayne, Batman from that world, used the bat symbol. And that's why you see that this Scarecrow and the creature destroy that sort of construction. And that's why those wood has on the side the Batman logo, which is the family, traditionally logo from the Batman samurai line family, you know, in a way.
That's very cool.
So awesome. Well, let's move on to question 3. And Dan, I think that one's that's Eric's. Sorry.
Yeah. So your art has a lot of horror and grotesque elements. Can you tell us what drives your art style, and are you influenced by other artists?
Yes. That's a very good question. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
So yes, I don't know. I have found that horror, or what I like about horror or scary things, is the beauty that you can find there. For example, the lady that I have here. Oh no, let me see this one. This one, it's a skull. It's just a skull. But at the same time, it's beautiful. The profile is beautiful, and it's based on Nefertiti bust, the Egyptian Nefertiti famous bust.
That's cool.
So that's exactly what I'm always trying to find inside horror, is the beauty of that side. It's almost like the happiness that we feel to have had the possibility to love a pet when they passed away.
Yeah,
which I recently experienced maybe a year ago. But it's that kind of feeling of, yes, it's horrific, but at the same time I feel attracted by it. It's beautiful. It's not because, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm every pet I'm gonna kill it because I feel it's not about that, you know. But when the time comes in something so painful, you try to you feel like I don't know, blessed to have been to have been with him all this time. So and
is that style something you were always attracted to, like even younger, or is it something more recently that?
I think I developed that through the years that I spent working for Sideshow on that line, Court of the Dead.
Yeah. Okay.
I developed that sort of, that's my niche there. That's my place, that's my comfort zone. It's not just putting a lot of skulls. It's not just doing or conceptualizing something gore or something disgusting or something extreme or something obscene. No. Whatever you use, you can do all of that, but have to be beautiful at the same time. Is that the real challenge that I enjoy? And talking about artists, oh my God, so many traditionally 2D, 3D, so many from movies. I don't know, let's say Paul Komoda, the Schiffler brothers, the Kuchare brothers. I'm talking about sometimes you admire an artist not just because what they can do with the art, but also the journey that they have done in order to become artists. So maybe it's not about the art itself, but maybe it's because the journey of that person. So I don't know, Daniel Bell. I'm talking about even Ariel Remis Mora, which is a friend from Cuba that is living in Spain now. He became a traditional sculptor doing figures for how to say the you know that how to say that in English. Well, he when you do the all the saints and the child Jesus Christ, and I don't know how to say that kind of sculpture, but he's amazing. And now he's sculpting something for even for Tweeterhead. So I love the not just the art, but when the art has some sort of soul, and that's why you're maybe that's the reason why I'm giving you guys this interview, because you guys hopefully you appreciate that too. You know, like knowing more about the artist behind the statue, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity.
Yeah, I wish we could have that for every statue. Just hear the artist's interpretation of it. Makes you appreciate the statue so much more.
Just do it. Just do it.
I think Dan's already ready to order the scarecrow. I think
he needs to, because it really is really amazing in person. I tell you, and like Eric just said, it you know, when we talk about behind the scenes, like I think a lot of us. I mean, I know that there's the casual fan and the companies, you know. That's who I think that they're catering to more toward now these days. But there are a lot of us like hardcore collectors that really do appreciate, and we collect because of the art. We collect because of that story that it tells. And the background part of that is such a big part of it, in our opinion. So I really appreciate you coming on and willing to share that with everyone, because it's just awesome.
I am the one that is endless or that has endless appreciation for this invitation, because you guys give me the opportunity to talk about this that I otherwise I didn't have the space to talk about this. Maybe the story and the background or the process creating, let's say, the scarecrow for XM, maybe the story made people see it differently. I'm not saying that they, because of the story, they will be, you know, like crazy to buy it, but at least understanding all the effort, all the love that we put, because essentially, guys, it is art when it is in my computer or in my hands, if it is traditionally. Once it get into production, that is something else. That is something else. So sometimes people forget that behind that statue, which is a product, a beautiful one in many cases, it's a product, but behind that, there are nights that I don't get to sleep as much time with my wife or spend enough time with my kids and my dog and my family. So, of course, I'm not saying that I'm a hero. That's what we all do in our jobs. But what I'm saying is there's a lot behind that, a lot of creation, a lot of effort, a lot of creativity. That sometimes it's not just another statue, another one that was done in 1 month or maybe 2 that came out great, but I don't know, some of those do not have a lot of story. And you know what? I am so grateful that XM gave me that opportunity, because the way they and I'm sorry that I'm going back to this, Chris.
It's fine.
It's the way they hit me was that the main difficult thing for you is to find how to design something that can fit inside this line, because up to that point, the line was very much futuristic technology. And then they did the Bane, which is awesome. But how do you put a guy that dressed like a scarecrow into that line? That was the main thing. They said that will be the harder thing for you. And I did it. I achieved it.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole witch doctor idea was great.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Exactly. And I, to be honest, I wish I could have more chance to work on works or statues or projects like that, because it gives me a lot of room to grow artistically, professionally, and investigate, because I had to go back to the history of archaeological China, and also how China culture influenced Japanese culture, and what's the mix on that. And I mean, that was a beautiful, really beautiful journey artistically.
Yeah.
And maybe if I do a Hush Batman, I don't have that possibility. I'm not saying anything wrong about that, because the comic is amazing and the story behind Hush is amazing. But I'm saying that not every project can give you that possibility artistically and professionally.
Yeah.
And I forever thankful with XM for that chance. Yeah.
This is somewhat off topic, but this is just a question I had. Like when they first revealed the Scarecrow, some people didn't like the paint. I actually did. I liked the paint scheme. Did you like the change that they made to the more brown, or did you like the original green colors that they were going with originally?
To be honest, I have no vote on that, and not even opinions on that, because I don't know anything about paint. I can say I like it. I don't like it. I see some things. I can understand when the paint job elevate or not the sculpture, right? The sculpting product. But in that case, I think the first one. The thing that I really sorry is that when they showed that prototype, the videos and the pictures were really awful quality.
Yeah.
Probably if they could have done not a better job, but have the chance to show that one in a better quality with a better camera, whatever, that would be more acceptable for people. But I think that the main thing was not just the tone or the paint job, but the quality of the video and everything else.
Yeah,
I think that's
agree.
that's my opinion.
I agree 100%. I think that's they should have done some sort of professional tour right there and to show it off like it should have been. But I did like that paint scheme. So when you turn it into XM as a finished product, is it just gray, like grayscale, or do you offer color ideas, or do they just take what you give them and then they do whatever they want with color?
I just hope in this case, I just give them the gray thing, like a ZBrush file.
Yep. Right.
But what I try to do with my sculpture is not thinking about in terms of color, but in terms of, for example, when you see the Scarecrow torso, the kimono or the underlayer that he has, it has several several kind of how to say
Textures.
Textures of the not the leather, but the cloth, different ones. So they can choose which one, maybe colors, maybe differently. So I think in terms of that kind of design, I don't think in color, but I don't know. I just suggest something.
Yeah, that actually sounds harder, because I would think as you were sculpting, you would have some type of color palette in your head, like like saying like, okay, I'm sculpting wood, I know this is going to be brown. I'm sculpting the fabric, I know he wears whatever green. So
if I would have to say something, it's like I base that character, and we constantly talk about that. I reference a lot of how to say country people from ancient China and Japan. So it's just a matter of trying to find or investigate the type of clothes that those guys, how to say, the fabric, that's the word, the fabric, the type of fabric that they use there, and then becoming a little bit creative and use it, because it's a scarecrow after all. It's not just a man from a countryside. I have to be related to the character from the comic. So I don't know. It's for me, it would be, if I would have to say something about that, it's just, guys, go back to the history pictures that we have, and then try to combine that with the classic scarecrow.
Yeah.
I would say.
That is awesome to hear. I do want to give a shout out real quick to Carl. Carl became a member tonight, so thank you very much.
Yeah,
I really
Carl,
appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Welcome
Thank
to
you
the
very much.
Brotherhood
Yeah.
of the Bat. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
That's very cool. So I think we're ready for question number 4 with Dan.
That would be me. So you touched a little bit on this, Amilcar, but in terms of you were coming up, you mentioned early days working with Sideshow. Can you talk to us a little bit about the process of engaging with, some of these larger companies and, how much opportunity was there? What was that process like for you?
Well, I remember loving the. This is a fun story. Thank you for the question. As I used to be just a draftsman, just making drawings. Basically, in drawing, what you have to do is to try to represent in 2D something that gives the sense of 3D, right?
Sure.
Through shadows and lights. So, but it's hard. That's really hard. So I was watching a documentary about the making of Fantasia, the Disney movie. And I saw that the guys that designed the T-Rex from the part of the dinosaurs, they were using a clay reference sculpture for reference, and they move it so it could be easier for them to draw that in 2D, because you're just copying what you're seeing. You don't have to figure it out in your mind. And I say, that's what I got to do. I got to learn how to sculpt in order to help me to visualize and also copy. So I went to school here in Argentina to learn how to sculpt. One of the teachers there, which is an amazing artist too, he recently did some work for Weta Workshop, the collections they did. His name is Adrian Tawada. He is a fantastic sculptor. He did some a sculpture of for the show The Dark Crystal, one of the characters, the villains.
That's cool.
So you should check it out. He's fantastic. So he was teaching there, and he was working also at that studio that used to work for Sideshow Collectibles.
Wow.
And by starting there, he saw my potential, like, hey, you know how to draw sort of a, more or less well, blah, blah, blah. And I said, man, can I? And when I found that he was working for Sideshow, I didn't know anything about collecting. I didn't know anything about Sideshow, but I saw what he did. At that time, he was working for the Dinosauria line from a few years ago. And I saw he did the Carnotaur, and that was amazing. And I said, can I go there and see that where you work? Can I go there and see that? And he said, yeah, come with me. And the first time I went into that small room where 3 people work sculpting things for Sideshow, and I remember smelling the strong smell of a super sculpting, and I was like in love for the first time. Like, oh my God, this is Weta Workshop in Argentina. Oh my God, this is what I want to do. And that was the beginning of my journey, going from physical therapist to become a sculptor and concept designer there. So I talked to the owner, Pablo Villano, which is another amazing artist. You guys know him. He used to do all the alongside with Martin Canales. They used to do all the statues for Sideshow, like superheroes and all. Now Pablo Villano is an art director for Prime One. So back then I talked to him and I said, please, can I come and just, I won't bother you. I won't bother you guys. I will behave. I just want to sculpt my small things and look over your shoulder and see how you guys do that magic, that beautiful thing. And he said, okay, come here, no problem. And then Pablo saw my drawing skill and said, hey, would you like to do some concept art for Sideshow? And I said, what the hell? Yeah, for sure. I should do it. And I started doing that. And then I got the chance to start working on a project that was left by Adrian, and he said, okay, if you want to get this chance, I was maybe 3 months already there, maybe 4, just drawing for Sideshow and sculpting my own thing. And he said, if you want to work here, you have to spend 40 hours minimum working for this. I mean, so it's like, if you want this, you have to do this. You have to, forget about the other job. Right. And I called all my patients and I said, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm happy. I made it. I finally can work as an artist. I can support my family as an artist. Sorry. So, from then on, I just, went to, Sideshow was already familiar with my work. So, yeah, that was sort of the process of me going to work.
Awesome that you got your break. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Definitely paid off that you made that choice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For sure.
In the middle, there were a lot of challenges, but we don't have time for that.
I'm sure. Well, I'll move into question 5. What companies have you sculpted for? You mentioned Sideshow, obviously, but what companies have you worked for so far? And are there any companies that you would love to work with in the future?
Well, right now, I am a freelance. I would like to work for anyone, private or small not private, but small company or a big one. I don't care. I just care about the product. I just care about the project. And if it is a very interesting project, a challenging one, even, I can go there. So far, I've been working for Sideshow Collectibles, XM Studios, and Tweeterhead. Yeah, Tweeterhead. Amazing. So yeah, so far that.
Well, it's really exciting because we talk about Tweeterhead quite a bit on the channel, and watching this company grow and adding talented artists. They've always had talented artists, but they've gone next level, really, and it's clearly showing in their work. So it's really exciting that you're part of that team, working with them right now. So that's really awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, and if you allow me, Chris, is wonderful also because sometimes when you get big as a company in your business, you have less freedom. But as a small company, you have freedom to do and to create and to give really the fans what they want. For example, we took a risk. I mean, they took a risk by doing these crazy, amazing versions of Masters of the Universe. And that's a risk. You don't know if people are going to like that. Would you hope so? You put all your love there, but you don't know if people are going to like that new version, sort of a realistic version. And when it's really, really satisfying when you put that out there and you are like, oh, please, like it. And they say, we love it. Oh, that's awesome. That is like, amazing. That's exactly the same that happened with the Rancor that I did for Sideshow. That was the first project that I worked on digitally. And even the guy that created and invented Phil Tippett, I'm talking about the great and the only one, Phil Tippett, said about the Rancor, he said, this guy is amazing and in some ways even better than the original one.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's the best compliment I've had in my entire career.
That's quite a compliment.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at pictures right here to see the Rancor. I actually saw this one this summer in Florida at a comic book shop I had not seen, and it's so massive. Like, it is a massive piece. And obviously Sideshow offered a smaller version as well, but seeing it in person, like I loved Return of the Jedi. It was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and specifically the Jabba the Hutt Rancor scene. Like, I absolutely just from the time I saw it, I just absolutely fell in love with this character and this creature. So to see you bring it to life like this is just so impressive. Do you have a love for Star Wars? Did you grow up with Star Wars like the rest of us and love it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a good thing that I didn't have the merchandising down there in Cuba at that time because, but I love it. Yeah, for sure. I love it. With the family, my mom and my brother, and not my father, but my brother and my mom. It was about watching those movies, any of those, the first three, you know, episode 4, 5, and 6, and then commenting, oh, how look this, and do you remember this, and loving the even the soundtrack, John Williams. So yeah, I love it. I just love it. And yeah,
it's awesome. So many people from the chat are giving you praise that they love your work and that you're such a talented artist. And ATV Racer says that you should be right there alongside him making creatures. So I love that. That'd be pretty awesome. That'd be pretty awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for your support.
Let's move on to question 6, and I think Jeff, this one's yours.
Yeah. May I say something?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Jeff, sorry, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
We're happy that you're here. We are, for sure. This is such a big honor for us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're really glad you're happy to be here.
It'd be kind of bad if you were like, "Oh, this sucks. I wish I wouldn't have come on here." You know,
it's hard to get people to elaborate when they start answering questions. They'll just, give you a short answer. But I think it would help a lot if when the statues come out, they would let the artist talk a little bit about it and put that in the description when you get to see it and order it.
Yes. I think Jeff, you nailed the point there, because sometimes in companies or in the industry, you find that they have this saying, the game come first.
Yeah.
And that's, as you can see, unfortunate, because some of us just want to shine. I don't see anything negative in if the artist that work on something that people love shine, the company shine too. So I don't see anything, hidden there. But sometimes those people just want, the game come first. So I don't know.
So let me go back to my question. Let me look at it again. So when a company gets you to do a statue, how much art direction are you given, or do you get to do like free reign when you go to design it?
Thank you. That's a good question. It depends on the project. For example, when I was doing the Batman for Sideshow, that was the first superhero statue that I did in my career. So I really have to rely on people that knew a lot more than me about the characters, even asking some doubts to Daniel Bell, Martin Canale, people, like, hey guys, how do you usually face this? Because I know how to do a Rancor, but I don't know how to do Bruce Wayne, dressed as the Batman. So the reality of that is that it depends on. That would be a good thing to dress the Rancor as a Batman. That would be well. Anyway, so
really big cape.
Yeah, for sure. So the point is that it depends on the project, Jeff. It depends on the project. Sometimes you need more. For example, the case of let's say the Skeletor bust that with David we developed. I did it. I designed it alongside with him. It was a hand-to-hand design. I cannot say that I did that design entirely, by myself. We did it. It was a back and forth design. Yeah. I don't know how to how to give a solution to this, and David took it, and that was like that. Sometimes it is more like a collaboration, a beautiful collaboration in this case, because I do really. David Igo is an art director, but at the same time, he's my friend from the days at Sideshow, and we respect each other a lot, hugely. And sometimes, for example, let me tell you this. This is a very interesting story, hopefully. The crossbone that Skeletor, that bust has, literally, we spend, for you, maybe you saw that, and it's like, that's the simplest part of a sculpture. Man, we spent maybe 2 weeks designing that. Why? Because I went, for sure, way too realistic, like from the medicine reference bone and put it there, again, something gore, something horror, something more realistic. And David said, no, have to look like this. And I say, no, but this and that. Well, 15 days, maybe 2 weeks to get to the point where we both were happy. And I say, okay, that's it. So sometimes it's both parts. In the case of the XM Scarecrow, that was mainly myself, which is awesome.
Mhm.
And but in any case, what you hope for is to get a little bit of creative input there, but for the most part, what you want is as an artist a collaboration, a respect, collaboration, and a happy, smooth process. That's what you really want. And so it depends on the project basically, and the company.
I just wanted to say that this sculpt is just phenomenal. And one thing I really love about this sculpt that probably, I don't know if other people like this either, but I love the anatomy here. Like it looks like a real person, their torso. Like the way you've like the dimples of the skin or the imperfections in the skin, like it looks like it's real skin there. And I think that is just incredibly well done. I love the way that turned out. And I think this has obviously been a big hit for Tweeterhead. What does Chad say to you whenever he sees that? Does he run up to you and yeah, this is awesome?
Well, it's yes. The short question is yes, but it was wonderful because Chad just gave us the chance to really explore that, and he trusts us. Like with David and I, he said, guys, I know what you're doing. Guys, I know you're good at that. Just do your thing. And we were like, yeah, fantastic. Let's do it. The best one, the best version of that. I was a fan of the show, of the Master of the Universe show when I was in Cuba. And I remember being just a little bit of jealous that some friends of mine had some, family in Miami, and they had those beautiful, amazing comics and toys. And I was like, I want that. But anyway, that was a fantastic job. And in the case of Sculptor and the skin and we wanted to give him a sort of a Terminator feel. That's why that sort of the endoskeleton look at that. It is almost as if you can take away the face, the skin from the Terminator, but leave in the Arnold Schwarzenegger, the chest. It was almost like that. It's like, I want to see that imposing figure anatomy, human anatomy there. So yeah, that was, I don't know, that was fantastic. That was a beautiful job.
It was awesome. I know you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but Eric, I think your question's next.
Yeah, I'll add on to it because you're speaking of Tweeterhead. So I was going through your portfolio yesterday, and I noticed you worked on the Green Lantern project.
Yes.
But you were tasked to only sculpt the cute little
the squirrel,
furry squirrel, which I thought was kind of funny because you're known for like horror and scary creatures. So why did they have you only do the squirrel one? And it goes into my question: what is it like working on a team with other artists and collaborating with other artists and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Collaboration is always, let's start from the back and then go to the squirrel. If I don't forget about that. So, but the collaboration process is always potentially risky and dangerous. But you have to always try to imagine and think about, not imagine, but think about that it's a process in that process of collaboration, you have the chance to grow as an artist and as a person too. It's always trying to understand the point of view of the other person. Trust me, in every project that I worked on, there are some aspects that myself as an artist might not, approve, but I have to trust in the other guys that they say, okay, they know as much as I do, minimum or even more, for sure. So you have to think about that. It's almost like you cannot go through life thinking that you know and you have all the answers. Nobody can get far thinking like that. So in this process, it's almost like the same. Always trying to be respectful with the other, always trying to see the point of view of the other one. For me, that's a key point, a very important point when it comes to collaboration. But again, mainly is an opportunity to grow as an artist and as a professional, and also as a person. Now, talking about the squirrel, I was really, really lucky to do something new, because when they give you that chance, I remember David Igo telling me, I got this for you. What do you think about this? And I say, let's do it. That's awesome. I mean, a squirrel. How
it's a good looking squirrel.
Yeah, thank you. And how do you transform a squirrel into a superhero without making it buffy or way too cute or way too, it's like, again, trying to find the middle point. Okay, that's not just another squirrel. It has some muscles, but at the same time, those cannot be human muscles. Inflate human muscles have to be, it's the opportunity to understand and to study the anatomy and the muscular and skeletal system of a squirrel, which I never got the chance to. I never thought about that. So again, it was a beautiful project, small one, but a very enjoyable one. Yeah.
Okay. So would you consider, do you label yourself as, do you want to stay with just horror, or would you be, looking to do moving forward into, say, doing, fuzzy little animals or different, types of characters other than horror stuff?
Well, I little by little, I think if I have to say how I see myself, which is difficult, I have to push down the ego. Stay there.
I think you answered it actually earlier. You said you like the horror because you like the emotion and everything behind it.
Yes, but nowadays, when I think about art itself, I think it is about the vision that you put into that project. Okay, if you give me a Batman, which I'm eager to do another Batman because I need to revenge that one, the other one. It's about your vision. It's about how to make a squirrel, but not just a squirrel. The Amilcar Fong squirrel, in a way, as much as you can in that collaboration. The XM Scarecrow. I'm pretty sure, whether you like it or not, you will never see another Scarecrow like that one. So it's about the vision that you put, all the knowledge that you put on, and when the time comes to design something. That's why I love those projects where you get the chance to be creative, because every time you put something from you put something from your past, you put something from your history, you put something from Cuba, from your experience and everything. Your journey from Cuba to Argentina. It's personal. For me, it's not just another statue. And that's why maybe it's not so financially successful for me, because every time I work on a statue, especially when it is a full-size statue, not just the base or another collaboration, and especially those projects where I get the chance to be creative and invent something and create something, I think about, okay, why do I want to live here in this earth when I'm no longer here?
Yeah.
I don't want to do just another Batman. I want to do a Batman that might be different, that a lot of people might not like it, but it's the Batman that I designed. It's the Batman that I did. And hopefully in time, people might, like the take that I gave to that project. So, yeah, that's my answer.
If I could just quickly add one other thing, would you ever turn down a project if you weren't interested in it? Like you said, like you're not attached to, emotionally sculpting it. You feel like, there's no attachment to it. You don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
Well, sometimes, usually, the reason I accept those kind of projects is because financially I need it. I need to work, right?
Okay.
But unfortunately, the industry is having less and less of that kind of projects where I can give my input, my own vision, because nowadays, like I said, the dark side of working for the big companies is that they don't have the freedom to do a lot of creative, risky things, risky projects, new takes. And we're not talking about just horror or creatures. Guys, I love, for example, one of the reasons that I love why I love the Green Lanterns comics is because it's aliens dressed like superheroes. I love it. And for some reason, big companies, or I don't know, in the industry do not have a lot of secondary and tertiary characters like Kilowog, like many other ones that are super amazing. No, just Hal Jordan, just the other one. I don't remember the other one. Jon Stewart. And it's like, why not? Why not? Oh, because maybe people do not like it. We have to do always, Batman, Superman, those one, Wonder Woman. And okay, that's okay. But there's so many other characters that people, maybe not thousands of people, but maybe 100, do a small one, round of it. I don't know. The industry is taking less and less risks, unfortunately.
That's why I really appreciate a company like Tweeterhead. Chad.
Exactly.
I get a chance to talk to him, off camera all the time, and to hear his insight about, these are his characters that he would really like to do. And we on this channel we always talk about Clayface and Two-Face and Riddler, all these companies that will not do these characters.
Yes.
It's refreshing that Tweeterhead is willing to sometimes risk, even at potentially a loss for Chad. God bless him. But he's passionate about creating some of these characters. So it's exciting.
What we all usually try to do, if I might add something here, Chris, is what we usually try to do is to have this focus on our mind. It's like, yes, even with the Scarecrow is now one of the best or worst Batman enemies every time. But especially with Tweeterhead, what we have in mind is, no matter how people like this, dislike this character, we will make it so cool, so awesome, that people are going to love it and want to, reevaluate what they think about the character. For example, I work on the Merman. The Merman is a favorite one for many people, but for the most of them, it's just Skeletor. And that's it, maybe Trap Jaw. But, hopefully so far people love what they have seen with the Merman. And that's another level of rewarding in our job. It's like transforming the people, the community point of view when they get to review and think about the statue. It's not just something cool, guys. There's a lot behind this. Try to open your mind and try to see this in a more round and multicolor way to see it.
I just want to give you some props. Our last show, we looked at that Merman from Sideshow Con, and the texturing on that piece is just off the charts. Like, it is absolutely beautifully sculpted, and I cannot wait to see that one finished, because it blew us away.
Thank you very much. The whole line is amazing. The whole line is amazing,
and it's gotten a lot of really positive praise. I mean, a lot.
Yes.
Dan, we'll move on to your question here. Question number 8.
Yeah, number 8. So, Chris, we're going to take a look at some more of Amilcar's work. Correct?
We've kind of talked about most of them that I had loaded, but we still have Scarecrow from Tweeterhead, and then also the Sideshow Batman, if you want to talk about it.
Okay. Well, Amilcar, let me put this bluntly. We're looking for the juicy, gossipy stories about any of these pieces. What can you tell us? Do you have any cool stories you can tell us? Unexpected experiences with any of these projects, or?
Okay. Specifically the Batman one, the Batman that I did for Sideshow, and this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this one, the Scarecrow for the Tweeterhead, the only thing that I did was, not the only thing, but the area that I got the chance to work on was mainly the face and the hat and the the hair, the straw. So I don't have a lot to say about that, but mainly I was just finished. A few months before I finished the Scarecrow before for XM. So it was another chance to revisit the same character, but in this case, just the head. So that was funny. Now the Batman for Sideshow. Again, that was a difficult one because even when I was familiarized with the human anatomy from my background as a physical therapist, I tend to, like I was saying to Eric, I tend to analyze the human form and even pay more attention about how the human body develop through time, the deformities, when they get fat, when they get thin, like when they get anorexia, I love those extremes because they, I don't know, the teenage body or the superhero body for me is like way too perfect. So for me, that was, I mean, I can tell a lot about someone according if that person has some sort of a echo of his life in his body. And let me say this: I wish I could give my own Batman, give the chance to do my own Batman, because man, after years falling from the roof of buildings, that guy will be really deformed, in my opinion.
Yes,
in my opinion, But anyway, so in this case, that was really challenging for me. I had to really, really study a lot of anatomy, not just human, but the human and the bodybuilding anatomy applied to the comic. Because one of the things that I think, and I applaud, one of the hits of Daniel Bell, is not just how good he is portraying anatomy and understanding the human anatomy. It's about how well he understood. Because seriously, guy, the way he does the superhero anatomy, nobody did that before. He has found the way to do that. So for me, that was challenging. It's like, how can I find my own voice in this character, in this realm of superheroes? So that was really, really challenging for me. The cape, people love the cape. Some others hate it. The cape was trying to portray or to have the sense of that kind of a spawn feeling, like a long cape, almost like the cape is a character by itself. And I think that was achieved. Maybe it's not the cup of tea of many people, but the cape itself is a piece of art, sort of, And the other head, the one that people do not like that much, with the underbite. If
this
you
is
guys,
this is the regular head.
yeah,
right?
this is the regular one. The other one, I don't know about you guys, but when I see myself doing an angry face, let's say like this, I have an underbite.
Yeah.
And if I am really angry, I do this. It's an underbite. It's normal. Okay, maybe Batman doesn't do that. I understand that. But that was my point of view. That was what I was trying to do, is a really angry Batman.
Yeah, I personally like the cape because Sideshow is really not known for doing sculpted capes. They like to, stick to fabric capes. Did they try to say, let's put a fabric cape on that at any point? Or they were like,
no,
you go do
no,
that, sculpted?
No. The art director, again, was my dear friend David Igo. And he had really clear idea about the cape. That cape, by the way, nowadays there are programs that might do fabric, like Marvelous Designer is one of the programs, digital program. In this case, the cape was sculpted, which means that you have to really try to sculpt and understand how fabric fold in order to give something there, not just drapery and that's it, falling because gravity. No, something else, in order to give life to that fabric, and also give the sense of movement, and that's one of the I think, hits of this statue. It says, maybe people like it or not, but the cape was sculpted, guys. And in order to do something like that, you have to understand and study fabric. Not many people do that. Not many people do that. They just use a program and that's it.
I'll piggyback on what Eric said. I really loved the cape, and it was just such a big, giant, man. It was heavy piece. And it's one of those ones that I feel like, you have to see in person to appreciate it sometimes. Sometimes it just wows you in person. But you did mention that there was some people in the community that either loved it or hated it. Is there anything that you would have gone back now and redid something, or what would you love to see differently, maybe with that
on that particular statue?
On that particular statue,
I would do a lot of things differently. I would even use some texture on the fabric, because it is way too plain a little bit. I think it's way too simplistic, and we at that time I didn't have a lot of knowledge about, and also that was not just because I didn't know how to use alphas and everything with the program, but that was artistic direction. It was like, leave it like that, just give it like just simple as possible. We were trying to focus on the cape and the interaction and the pose and the attitude of the statue. It was almost like paying homage of the very old drawings and everything. So I would do a lot of things differently, even keeping the pose, even keeping a lot of things, but it's just retouching. It's just giving another view with after 2 years, after almost 3 years of experience, I can do things hopefully a little bit better. But one thing that I would like to say, Chris, here is that that's the risk that you take every time you get creative and you try to get out of your comfort zone. For example, when I do the Ranko piece, which was a hit, everyone loved that one. I went from concept artist and traditional sculptor to digital sculptor. I said, okay, I'm taking a risk here. I'm taking a risk. I don't know how to do that professionally, but I want to do it. And thanks God, it was a hit. But in this case, it was a theme that was out of my comfort zone. And I said, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can give it a try. I can prove to myself that I can do something like this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not the best one, not my strong area, but I want to do that. I want to change. I want to improve. I want to do exactly the same that Chris did with the surgery. I want to be better. I want to increase myself as a person. I want to do that. I don't care about the risk. Damn it, it's only one life. I want to do a Batman. Let's do a Batman. Okay. And I did it.
David H says, I await your 2.0 Batman. There you go.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready for that, man. Thank you very much.
We were real quick. We were talking about this before the show. It would be like you said, you don't get the opportunity to get a lot of these statues, and it would be great for you to see the statues, just so, like you said, you can improve. You can critique your own work and say, okay, this is what I want to do different. Because I'm assuming most of the time you don't even see half of these statues that you work on in person, right?
Not even half.
Yeah.
Not even half.
That's a
none
shame.
of them.
Yeah.
Almost none of them. Well, sometimes when you get lucky, you can get a print test and say, guys, what about this? Can you please do a very basic, cheap test and print and give me some pictures? And usually they don't. They say, no, it's fine. Keep going. You try to be professional, but they just go. Okay.
Archangel comments about your Batman. He said the sculpt was awesome. The paint app is what killed it with the tan skin. Do you get frustrated sometimes when you see the paint? I know, like, whenever you have a master painter at Sideshow or wherever, it looks great. Sometimes you get it back from the factory and it's close, but it's not as good. Is that frustrating as an artist whenever you see, like, oh, if they just would have did something differently with the paint, it would have shown better. Like, it would have reflected better on the sculpt.
The best thing I can do about that, Chris, is learn to live with it.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it. I can my work and deliver in the ZBrush file or the statue itself, the copy or whatever. I just hope that the painter does or put the same amount of love that I put in my statue. Then when it gets to production, we all have to understand, guys, it's not the same to paint one than painting 2,000, 1,000. Guys, 1,000.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Sometimes the best painters do not want to paint two. They just want to paint one because they are artists too. We are not just, someone who does another one and another one and another one. For example, the Team Gore was the one who did the paint job on the Skeletor bust, life-size bust for Tweeterhead. And he killed it. It's amazing. So the only thing that I can do is to cross my fingers and say, please, please put as much love in the paint job as I did. Now, what companies are usually doing is to decreasing the quality of the paint in order to match both qualities, the end product, the final product, and the prototype. That's what they usually are trying to do, because it's really hard to match that, guys. Sometimes I wondered if with XM and even Prime 1 and even Sideshow, sometimes the paint job is so awesome that you wonder yourself, how the hell are they going to do this 1,000 times, 1,000 times? How do they do that?
And that's what we've talked, recently about, with all the shipping problems, like, why don't they just build factories in the United States? Well, part of the problem is the painters. These are very good professional painters that it would take years to train people here in the United States to match that level of quality. And so I think that's a big issue, not only costs and everything else, but I think just the painters in general of finding that talent is not easy to do.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, you have to try. You have to start somewhere. I mean,
that's right.
Somewhere.
That's true.
Yeah, just try.
I'm going to move on to question number 9. Do you have a favorite sculpt that you've worked on?
Favorite one, traditionally or digitally or in general?
How about one of each?
Yeah.
How about one of
Okay,
each?
cool, awesome.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
Man, okay. I have a good one on traditionally. Let's start with that. This guy that you see here, Oglavel.
Mhm.
This one.
He's cool.
Yeah. So that was the third traditional professional statue bust in this case. I did. Oglavel came to my life in a very special moment in my life, in my professional life, artistic career, because I was getting to a point where 2D was not enough for me. And I was not getting the reward that I wanted from the 2D. So I like to think about this like when snake change their skin. In order to grow, you need to change your skin. At least that happened with lobsters and some insects and even with the snakes. So that statue, that bust was the result of me feeling the need of changing, the need of growing, the need of moving out of my comfort zone, which was 2D. And I talked to my, at that time, art director, and I say, I don't want to draw anymore. That was difficult because I was hired at Sideshow for my drawing skills. And I was, at that time, the main concept artist for that line. I was establishing the Code of a Dead aesthetic at that time. So it sounds important. And by taking that decision of saying to my art director at that time that I don't want to draw anymore, I was risking to lose my job.
Sure.
But I was being honest with myself. And I said, I don't want to do this. And he said, thanks God. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to sculpt a bust. I want to do my own take on Oglavel, which is that character. And you can see it on my art station later if you want. That was traditional sculpted. And I put all my love on that because that was a character that I helped to design and to conceptualize. And I wanted to give my take on that. And that character, that own take that I did on that one, again gave me the opportunity to make my own journey and my own construction and my own background about the character, my own take on that, and that was beautiful. That was maybe maybe in the Amilcar Fong interview number 2, we can talk about that.
That's right. That's right. We'd love to do that.
Hopefully in the future. So that was amazing. That was amazing. And digitally, I will have to pick the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow was just a dream job. Yeah.
I'm assuming the XM one versus the Tweeterhead.
Yeah, the X1. Yeah, sorry. The X1.
Yeah. That is awesome. And my last question that we have for you is that any characters that you would love the opportunity to make?
Green Lanterns, the side characters, not the main one, not the humans, but all the creatures, the Kilowatt, the even the Red Lantern, the Atrocitus, all those creatures, monsters, superheroes dressed as superheroes. I would love to do my take on that.
Clayface.
Clayface.
That's the thing is we've been asking for Clayface for a long time. Would you have any interest? Because I can see a horror element. A horror element for sure in a Clayface.
Let me tell you this. I have a file in my computer of the characters inside the Batman realm in a way that I would like to do. And among those is Clayface. For sure.
I could also see you doing a killer Two-Face.
Yes. I'm here for that. Anyone wants to to offer me the job? I'm open to that. Come on, guys.
I'm calling Chad right now. I'll say, hey,
Let's
Chad, can you make this happen, please? Come on, we're ready for these characters. And I've had great conversations with again Dave Vigo off camera, about the art direction and what they would like to do with some of these characters, and it's very exciting. It's all timing. I mean, that's the hard part, especially everything's been pushed back with shipping and the pandemic and everything else. And so, it's just it's exciting to know that at least a company like Tweeterhead's willing to listen and willing to take some risks, like you said earlier. But yeah, I would love to see you do a Clayface. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I am really happy to be given the opportunity to work with Tweeterhead. All came down like that, and I do really love the opportunity. I cannot express that enough. I'm really happy to be working with those guys. David Igo is my friend. It's not just he's almost my brother. David Igo, I know him in person for all those years working for Sideshow Collectibles. Alongside him, I cooked for him in his home.
That's cool.
So yeah, he's
we love Igo.
A beautiful human being. Chad, I didn't have the pleasure to meet him in person, but he trusts me with so awesome, projects, and I'm happy to be working with them. And really, any company that can finally what you finally try to find in a company is validation, guys. That's what we seek in our job. No matter what you do, it's validation. That it's not just about money. Sometimes you find some people that think that because they are giving you money, they have, they can own you or sort of. No, guys, it's validation. Take me for what I am, and what I am is not my job. So it's my creativity, my input, the love that I put in every project, the late nights that I put to each project. What defines me as an artist, as a sculptor, to try to reach that point where you are not just a sculptor. That's why you see I do monsters, I do sort of superheroes. That's why I do Squirrel. That's why I do Sculptor. That's why I'm asking to do another Batman. That's why a demonic Batman. I don't know, but something always trying to move from realms to realms.
That's right.
And that's why I'm so happy to be working at Tweeterhead, because they really appreciate my value as an artist. It's like, give this guy whatever you want, and he is gonna try to do his best. Maybe it's a hit or a miss, but he'll do his best. Yeah, but he will do his best, and that's what I can promise to each company. I'll do my best to give you the best product, even when it might it might be different from what people expect, but that's
Absolutely. And speaking of validation, we got Franco Carlissimo in the chat for the very first time. Another amazing sculptor. He says Amilcar is one of the best of the best. His creations are so cool. Keep them coming. So that was really cool.
Thank you very much, Franco.
That's awesome. So that was all the questions that we have, and we've answered some from the chat. And if any other ones come up, that would be great. We can kind of go as we go. Anybody in the chat? Is there anything that you would love to see Amilcar do in terms of characters? Obviously, a lot of people said that they're very excited about some of those Green Lantern characters, that they would buy them, that they would love to see them. Yes. And again, Tweeterhead's the kind of company that would take that risk with some of those characters for sure. So that's really cool. Let's see. We are going to probably switch gears here and do a little bit of photos. Do you want to stay with us and look at photos?
For sure. It's my pleasure.
Okay.
I wish we could all be together drinking a beer or a wine.
That sounds great. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. And it's crazy because I've not met any of you in person. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, we've been together for so long, but that's my dream, is to all come together someday. And
for sure.
We need a
San Diego Comic Con, Monsterpalooza. Who knows?
We need to think bigger. We need a BSC Con.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, well, let me get this banner off here, and we'll look at some photos from the week. And again, if you guys have questions, come in. Dan and Jeff and Eric, if you guys would kind of monitor if any questions come in that are good, please make sure you just go ahead and ask them. Okay.
Real quick, Amilcar, I think touched into it before we started, and he was pretty passionate about it. Does he have any other hobbies that don't deal with, I guess, sculpting and statues? You mentioned you collect books and stuff.
Yes. Especially, I would say collecting books and especially the books that means a lot for me. I don't always have the financial possibility, but I like to have, for example, The Wind in the Willows is a book that I love. It's a story that I love, and I would like to. I have the original, the first edition copy, but it's very so old that I would like to buy one day a good condition first edition. I have one first edition of It from Stephen King. I mean, I love books. That's books. It's for me. There's no way that computer and internet can substitute that. There's nothing more magical that getting a book and open it in your hands and try to read it and trying to see the images and the smell of the pages. There's no way you can substitute that with a screen. I know that internet is amazing. You can find anything there, but there's not the same. It's just not the same. And let me tell you this is psychologically, it works like propaganda in TV. You see very serious things and topics on TV, but at the same time, you see a T-Rex pursuing a car. So your mind cannot, it's the same medium. So in this case, the books are something different. So yeah, man, it's just sort of collecting books. Yeah.
Great answer. Dark Ranger 7, a Brotherhood member, says, what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, Alien, the first one.
Oh, good. Yeah.
For sure.
Why Alien over Aliens?
It's a different thing. I love Aliens, by the way. I love Aliens. But they are like different loves. It's something different. The Alien, the first one, talks about mystery, talks about cosmic horror. It's about the unknown. It's about the limitation of human being. No matter how much technology you have, you will never reach. You cannot know everything in the galaxy. So it's almost like a lesson of, you're the tiny thing in this universe. Don't forget about that. So it's almost like that. Yeah, David Igo, my friend,
He's
is
right
there.
there, David. Yeah. He's above average. That's yeah. I go in the house.
Woo!
That's
Yeah,
fantastic. That's
Igo. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, man, the second one was amazing. It's a little bit of a more modern. I don't know. I don't want it to, but yeah, the first one is something magical. It's more close to my heart. Some people love the second one more action for sure. But the suspense of the first one, I mean, it's the message of the first one is. I don't know how many times I have watched that one, man. It's amazing.
It's great. It is. Paula asked earlier, this was a good question. She loves the Court of the Dead and has collected the Court of the Dead. Is there any plans for more pieces from you in terms of Sideshow and Court of the Dead?
It depends on Sideshow. I mean, I used to be a permanent, exclusive freelance for Sideshow. But now I am no longer in that category, let's say. So it depends on Sideshow. If they want to collaborate with me as a freelance, I'm open to that too. Yeah, I would love to do something else. And even I mean, Court of the Dead is so close to my heart that I would love to do some new designs and new creatures and sculpting those two for Sideshow for sure. Yeah.
Well, and really, in my opinion, you are Court of the Dead. Like you are.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
You know what I mean? Like you are the one that had the art direction with the pieces and the illustrations, and that became where all of that was born out of you. So that's very exciting.
Thank you.
I noticed you were credited for. There's a Court of Dead book, and you were credited.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I did some designs there too, and trust me, there are so many other designs there. So Court of the Dead has, I mean, the guys that are behind Court of the Dead, those guys really know what they're doing, and they have so much art behind what they have done what they have done so far, that trust me, I've done so many drawings and so many designs that people do not know about them. Hopefully in the future, they will use that for something. I don't know, maybe a book, maybe a design, maybe whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe to hire me again and say, hey, as a freelance, do you remember this design that you did? Yeah. Can you sculpt that for us? Yeah, let's do it for sure. Yeah. I would love to do that. Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, you're getting a lot of praise again in the chat. And it's just so awesome to be able to talk to you about all this stuff. So again, guys, if there are questions as we're looking at photos, please let me know and we'll just jump right in. Okay. So just cut me off if you need to. Okay. You guys see this okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so this is the full reveal of the XM quarter scale piece. This is from the White Knight Sean Murphy series. This one's had a lot of talk over the last few weeks. What do you guys think?
I wish it was more affordable. I would get it, but
it's very pricey. Do you remember what the price point was?
2,500, I think.
Yeah,
24 or 2,500. But it's huge.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, that obviously maybe offsets some of the cost. A lot of people are begging XM to do a 6 scale.
That would be big too.
It would be.
I mean, this is pretty much amazing. The only negative critique, and it's just a nitpick that somebody mentioned, is that the lantern is hanging kind of low to where
I don't know. It kind of makes me think of something I've seen in like a early 1900s London.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Where they're low on low posts like that.
Okay.
Yeah, almost like the you'd see it on the corner of a gate.
Yes.
To a home or something like that.
Yeah, a lower part of it. Yeah, absolutely.
To light a walkway.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's just the only one negative thing I've seen that mentioned about this.
It's I think the statue's beautiful. I just think it's way too much of a space eater at this size, for my collection at least.
Yeah.
And it's pretty expensive. You got to be, for me to spend that kind of money on a single piece, even one as, massive and dynamic as this, I have to have some kind of a nostalgic connection to the piece or something. And as much as I love this artwork and piece, there's just not enough there for me.
I think you're talking about emotional connection. I think that the emotional connection is that this book is just too new.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You don't have time to, like, you might appreciate the story and you might appreciate the art, but it's very different than, like, even let's say a Bermejo piece that's been out for 5 or 6 years, or a Jim Lee that's been out for decades. It's there's just isn't enough time.
It's still Batman on his bike, which we don't get many statues of, so it's I mean, for me, like I told you, I would pick it up if they make it in 6 scale.
I love the art style. I think it's cool. I love when they do something different, when an artist, I mean, Amilcar talked a lot about this, just kind of adding, his, you kind of put the character through your own personal filter, see what comes out. I love this. I think it's edgy. It's different. It's edgy in a way to me that kind of lines up well with the whole Batman mythos. I just love the whole thing. But
yeah. And let me ask you this, guys. This is from the White Knight, right?
Yep.
The comic.
Yes.
Well, usually what attracts me first as an artist to a comic is the art itself, and the artist that draw the White Knight,
Sean Murphy.
Comic, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love the art of that book, and the story is amazing too.
Yeah.
So it's one of my favorite comics, and the art and this sculptor is amazing too. I mean, the artist that sculpted the bike, I don't remember the name right now. I think it's I don't remember. I don't want to mispronounce that, but there are great artists behind this statue.
Yeah, the details underneath those panels that come off it's crazy.
It's crazy. And one thing I love about this is the angle, like that they
exactly.
The angle's beautiful on it. The way it's tilted. Yeah. It just adds so much to the bike, and the way he's got his leg out there in the front.
Yeah.
Let's look at the detail there. You were talking about the detail. So I know I was talking with Jeff Delaney this week, and he was like, well, I don't know if the backside is, more detailed than the front. Well, actually, both the panels come off on both the front and back. So you can expose the gears and all the engines and everything else inside if you want, or you can leave it, covered, which I think is awesome.
Yep.
Again, there's that lantern there, the detail there. It looks great. It's just amazing. I think some of these photos are actually renders. They look like renders to me, but it's just very impressive piece. Really great texturing, as you can see. I love the way the cape billows up. But yeah, I think the price point here is the biggest issue for most collectors. Again, I think even at 1.6, you're looking at over 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might shy some people away. But anyway, beautiful piece from XM. Great detail. Just really neat. We'll move on to, this was a big surprise this week from Queen Studios. This is the Venom life-size bust. Again, kind of in your wheelhouse, being horror inspired. What do you guys think of the bust?
See, a lot of comparison to Sideshow's old bust, and people are liking this one more. And I don't know, it's hard to say because we haven't seen the actual production piece yet, but yeah, the prototype looks great.
Yeah, I definitely can see the comparison to the Sideshow piece. I do feel like this is like the next level on top of that. It's just very, very well done.
I think somebody actually asked Emil earlier in the chat if he would consider doing like a Venom or something.
I would love to.
You'd be great at Venom.
I would love to. It all depends. And let me tell you this: the first thing that I asked to, maybe one of the first things that I wanted to do to collaborate with XM was Venom, but the design was not approved by, what is it? Marvel?
Yeah. Marvel.
Marvel. The design was not approved. It was way too extreme in terms of the movie was about to release, I think, or just recently released. So they don't want to put another new Venom design in the market, or
Yes.
So I think it was cool, but they just didn't want that. So yeah, I would love to do that. And by the way, if I am allowed, the first one, the left side bust for Sideshow was a sculptor by none other than Steve Wang.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is a legend in the industry, in the FX makeup industry. Is the guy behind the sculpture and the paint job and the paint design of the original Predator movie. So he's a legend.
And that Venom bust still holds up. Like, it is still very, very well done. So, like, no matter which one you go with, if you're a Venom fan, you're going to be happy.
Yep.
It's just they are both similar, but they're both very well done.
This one, I think, is more close to the actual modern view of Venom without going strictly to the movie. I think it's interesting. I
agree. I think that's a great point. I do. Again, it's a big piece. The price point was good. Didn't you guys think the price point was pretty decent?
What was the price?
I think it was like $12.50 or $13.50.
Okay.
I think $12.50. I thought it was pretty good for the size.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that puts this over the top compared, I mean, I saw the Sideshow one in person. Again, it's amazing. Like you said, Emil, the sculpt on it and everything. I just like how they did the symbiote coming like off his body.
Yeah, it gives it more movement.
Yeah,
for sure, which I like.
It looks a little more organic.
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks stickier.
It does look stickier. It does. That's
it's almost like a dynamic bust. If you just use like in motion,
which
and you
I
just
think
took
is
a bust
hard to do for a bust sometimes.
Yeah, busts sometimes are just so stagnant sometimes, but like I feel like this is really shows a lot of movement, which I thought was really cool art direction.
Yep.
Let's move on to that was let's see, 576 was the ES on that one, so not too bad.
Q2 of next year. Let's see if that happens.
Yeah, well, Queen Studios has done pretty well getting stuff out. Just like Tweeterhead's gotten really, obviously with their shipping situation right now, but they are, like I talked to Chad last week, and he's like they tried to get out everything in less than like 8 months. So that's incredible turnaround time these days. This is a piece that I want to talk to Dan about.
Yep.
Dan, did you order it?
I did. Yep.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
This piece literally got you to kind of rethink some things.
It did, yeah. Shifting a couple of things around in the collection. This one tipped the scales for me. It's funny, like you, Chris, I haven't leaned heavily into the other heroes in the Bat universe.
Yes.
Been very, very, very selective about that. Matter of fact, I think prior to this, the only other one, I'm just looking around to make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, the only other one I have is the Samurai Batgirl, which from XM, which I absolutely love that piece. It's one of my favorites. But when I saw this, I thought, okay, this is the opportunity for me to pull Red Hood into my collection. I never have had him. But that tipped the scales, and another question mark for me, because I'm also going to pick up, and I actually already purchased him this morning, the Nightwing, the Samurai Nightwing. So,
nice.
Yep, I love the art. It speaks to me. I think it fits the mythos again. Once again, I love the detail. XM's paint applications are fantastic. I'm just go on and on. In this piece, the pose and the switch outs, everything about it. Yep. It's a hit in my book.
You know what might look great right across from him is Scarecrow.
He's on the list.
He should be. He's
the wallet is getting thin, though. The wallet is so thin.
I know.
But I think that the pose for Dan, what also works is that the Scarecrow tend to be more wide than taller, and this one is you can put it in more taller than. So
exactly. Yeah, it definitely fits. And, Chris, the other thing, and we've talked about it on the show a lot, that this piece got me to do that I said I was going to do.
I know.
PO.
I know.
Especially given all of the challenges around the world with shipping and freight costs and that. I am not interested in putting, tons of money down. As a matter of fact, on, the past few statues I brought into the collection, actually one of them still being yet to be delivered. I've paid in full, right? So you get a little bit of a break. You pay in full, but I'm not interested in having any company hold my, $1,500 for 18 plus months,
Yep.
2 years. I'm not doing that anymore. So was able to do a reasonable NRD on this one, and I'm okay with that.
So I'm going to quote the Joker, and tonight you're going to break your one rule. And you did.
Exactly. I'm super excited about this one.
Look at this crazy mask. Like, that's crazy.
I haven't seen that.
Yep.
I'm assuming that you're going to go with this one.
I am likely will be the most often displayed.
That one's definitely the most Red Hood for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has a gun switch out too. I don't know if they showed it.
I don't think I had a photo of that one.
Maybe they're not allowed to show it. I don't know.
And maybe not. It's pretty tricky with Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. They weren't allowed to put it on the actual statue. Somebody photoshopped it onto the statue.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, I know the main thing is they can't show pointing. You can't point a gun. I don't know if you can maybe have the gun, but I don't know. I hear Warner Brothers are getting more and more tricky with what they're allowing. So anyway, congratulations, Dan.
Yeah, thanks. I'm super excited about this one.
So we'll move on to this one. This one was revealed. This was actually by McFarlane Toys that are doing some things for the new Batman film. It looks okay.
It's 1/6 scale.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think this will be, I'm sure a good mid-range statue. I think this movie will be very popular, so I can imagine things like this will go very well. But anyway, wanted to put that out there. Let's talk about this one from XM. Again, XM had quite a week, a couple weeks actually. And we actually just saw kind of a teaser for when we did our reaction show. But now we get all of the details for the Dark Knight Returns. This is quarter scale and also 6 scale. What do you guys think?
it's very cool. I like the base.
Yep.
Looks like he's getting ready to jump off a building.
You see the green patina on it? It looks really nice.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that looks really great.
That's on Amilcar's Batman. That's one of the elements I love about that Batman actually is the mossy kind of effect that they did with that base. I love the base.
So is this from the first Dark Knight Returns or from like Master Race 2 or 3, or is it from the first one, right?
I don't know if they've specified. I would
The
assume.
only thing I don't understand is like he's jumping off a building, but it looks like he's getting ready to throw a punch as he's jumping off the building. So I'm curious what he's.
Well, I
about
mean,
to
there could
punch.
be somebody down there, like he's getting ready to punch them. That's down below, like maybe I think they actually even said like he's jumping down to fight the mutant leader or
Okay.
whatever.
See, this is one of those things where you need the artist to say, "This is my."
Right.
Right.
Chris, one of the things I like about this particular statue, and this isn't, my favorite Batman story from an art perspective.
Same here.
It's kind of an acquired taste, but I love how organic this Batman is relative to the really, I don't know if that's an Art Deco-ish looking, the eagle.
Very much so.
I love that contrast. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's something that's different. I like the color contrast as well with the kind of the goldish green. But it is very dynamic. Some people have worried a little bit about, leaning and things like that. But I would assume that it's very, well engineered.
Do people really? Is that a real problem for a lot of people still these days?
I haven't seen it. Like, people are like a Sideshow Flash and blah blah blah. Like, no one's had a leaning problem. So like,
I have to be honest. I don't have any. The only problem I've ever had, and it was extremely minor, was with the first Batman Hush that I don't own anymore. But I had one of those that leaned just a smidge, like we're talking 1/16 of an inch.
My new Hush from Prime 1 has a very slight lean.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It does. I'm gonna put something under the heel to kind of push it back the other way, but it's like 3 centimeters maybe.
Wow, 3 centimeters?
No, maybe not. Maybe it's smaller than that. I mean, it's very small. It's very, very small. But there is a slight, just the way it keys in, I think.
Oh, gotcha.
But I don't know. But you don't hear about it very often anymore.
Yeah.
Look at the texture here.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
So, Emil, since we have you here, I don't think we asked you. Do you ever sculpt like smaller scale stuff, like 6 scale, or do you think it's like more challenging compared to like the larger stuff? Or?
Well, for me, I put the same attention to the sculpt, no matter what's the size they want to print it out or sell it. I put the same attention to details, and you print it out. For sure, the life size would need more attention to details, and the smaller one have to be get tricky because have to be smaller, but at the same time emphasize the details enough. So when it comes, to when it becomes a 3D printing, you have to see it, be able to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just love to work and the project. It depends on the project, so I just love to work.
Yeah, with the XM, they do a great job of showing off those details in a smaller scale. So
yeah, for sure. That's amazing.
And again, this is going to translate down to 1/6. So if people want to buy that, one thing you were talking about detail. Look at the top of the cape, how it looks like fabric up here, but then it's like leathery underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys see that? Like it's so well textured.
That's very interesting.
This is a really beautiful statue. Let's move on to Catwoman. Catwoman started getting delivered. This is, eye gate in terms of this statue. I personally think it looks fantastic. Obviously, there are some photos that are better than others. Everybody that has it says it's way better in hand. But what do you guys think of the initial photos that you've seen?
It looks pretty damn close to the prototype to me. So yeah, like I said,
awesome.
Telling you guys, like even the cat looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it looks awesome. Again, I think this, again, sometimes it's too bright. It's like, it's like, here's the prototype. Here's the actual, painted. Some people say, well, her head's more oval, or her head, her eyes are not quite right. But again, I think it's pretty darn close overall. And then you get other lighting. So, every photo looks a little bit different. I think she looks really good there. That one looks good. This one's from Gina B, which is great. Look at that. I mean, that's proper lighting. That's proper, photography.
Yeah.
And it looks fantastic.
Chris, George Raw in the Facebook group made a great point about the photography the other day, in terms of, getting kind of convex shapes and whatnot based on the shape of the lens. And I think he's absolutely right. If you look at the difference between this picture and the oval head picture you had a minute ago or a second ago, that's clearly photography on the right that's causing that.
Tweeterhead does just about everything that literally everything I've gotten from Tweeterhead has been, 99% to the prototype. And it's very, very close. Sometimes it's very subtle, paint differences or whatever. But whenever I talked to Chad a few years ago, or maybe, I think it was about 2 years ago, he showed me this render. And to be able to see it go from just being able to see a face to kind of an idea of the statue to getting Michelle Pfeiffer's approval. Like he called me that day and said, I got the approval from her. To see this come to fruition and to see it in collectors' hands, like I'm just so happy for Tweeterhead, and I'm so happy for collectors that love this movie as much as I do. And so I cannot wait to get mine. Cannot wait.
And one thing that is, if I can say, is that portraits are really, really one of the main difficult things for any artist. And it's Michelle Pfeiffer. It's incredible. It's amazing. I mean, forget about the color, forget about the painting, forget about the cat, forget about the camera angle, the light. Just being able to see that's Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, that's incredible, difficult, guys. Yeah. And they hit it.
That's polystone. They're not like the newer companies using silicone.
Right, and that's even harder.
Yep.
Even harder. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's absolutely beautiful. I need to find out who sculpted this one. I can't remember who did, but I'll have to find out. Anyway, congratulations to everybody getting her. I threw this up. This was revealed on Batman Day. No, I'm sorry, not Batman Day. It was
DC Fandom.
DC Fandom. obviously, Queen Studios is announcing a whole bunch of things: Superman Black Suit, The Dark Knight on Batpod, Batman 1-to-1 scale Christian Bale Batman, a half scale Heath Ledger Joker, Wonder Woman 84 half scale, a bust of the police uniform Joker, comic Joker 1-to-1 bust, Superman 1-to-1 bust. The list goes on. Is there anything that stood out to you guys in this list?
I remember seeing this. I didn't look at all the stuff they were doing. It's crazy.
I'm very excited about the Batman on Batpod. I am hoping that Queen Studios will have the Batman fit the Catwoman one for the people that already ordered the Catwoman one. Do you guys think that that'll happen?
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. It'd be nice,
It'd be
this
nice.
way you
I
don't
don't know
end
that
up
it
with
will.
two Bat Pods. Unless
Yeah.
you want, I mean, you could display them both together, but in the movie, there's only one Bat Pod. It's not like you had two of them.
Right.
I could see them maybe doing a Batman standing by it. Potentially. Like, I just don't know. I'm hoping they offer something as an option, a separate purchase option to be able to fit him on the Catwoman Batpod. That's something that I would definitely buy. Because I did buy that.
They'd win a lot of collecting friends doing that, Chris.
Yeah, and Queen Studios is really good about listening to feedback, and so I'm hoping I did a video on this topic last week, and I'm hoping I know they watch, so I'm hoping that they consider that.
This sounds like a lot of movie pieces, correct? So
A lot of movie pieces, yes.
Catwoman's going to be maybe
Catwoman will be 1-to-1 bust. I'm assuming that
Michelle
will
Pfeiffer?
be. No, I think that'll be Anne Hathaway.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing, but the one I'm kind of surprised by was the police uniform Joker. Being a 1-to-1 bust, I thought that was a little bit of a a risk, certainly. So it'll be interesting to see how that one turns out. But always love Joker stuff. So anyway, we'll move on. This one was revealed by Darkside Collectibles. What do you guys think? Like, we saw some issues with paint and texturing for a fairly new company here, but what do you think about the Sarah Connor? And the price point.
I mean, it looks like her to me.
I mean, I can tell who it is for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I just don't know.
Did the glasses come off?
There's two. I think there are two. Oh, maybe I thought I had another picture. I think there's another head. And maybe I just didn't get the picture. I think there's a head without the hat and glasses.
It's like you said, it's a newer company, so we haven't seen what their production pieces are going to look like yet.
Yeah. So again, we're going to kind of wait and see, but it's still exciting. This is again the company that announced all of those. Batman, Nicholson, and Keaton, and
somehow they amazingly have some great licenses right now.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting again to follow this company and see what we get out of them. But I do feel like the price points have been pretty high. This is also that same company. They're also doing video game pieces. They have the Street Fighter license, and this is Ryu. So again, there's going to be some variety coming from them. I know we don't spend a lot of time on video game pieces here on the channel, but I did want to throw this up there. I do feel like the texturing looks pretty good compared to that Spock that we talked about. I know it had some issues. This was a piece from Kotobukiya. We saw just a teaser of this one, but what do you guys think of this one now that we've seen it fully revealed?
I like that they changed it. I think when we first saw this, he was just standing there like static with both legs together, to where this is more accurate to the graphic novel cover, to where he's in movement walking. So
yeah, the movement's
cool
nice.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, captures the the artwork perfectly. So
the sculpt here might not be everybody's taste. It is definitely a stylized Batman, but it is true to the art, which is nice. And again,
1/6 or different.
It's that. What's that scale they've been doing lately? Is it? I think it might be 6. It's either
I
6
just wondered if it was going to go with like the Flashpoint Batman and the
Yeah.
Batman Who Laughs.
What's that scale? Is that
1/6?
That's
One,
6. Yeah.
okay, so this should be 1/6 then.
Yeah.
But you got the Joker head, and it's something different for sure.
It's a cool
I thought it
story.
was pretty cool. This one's revealed by Iron Studios. This is a quarter scale piece. Again, this was a pretty pricey. I can't remember the price point. Maybe
$1,200.
Yeah, 1,200 for 1/4 scale. What are you guys seeing that I'm not seeing in that price point?
I'm not seeing me think about buying it.
The first one was what, $850?
Yeah.
The first one was $6.99.
Wow.
Was it
Oh,
really?
the one from Civil War?
No. The first one from
Oh, I don't know if it
Endgame.
was cheaper than that.
Endgame.
Oh, it was 8.
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it was either 8 or 850. Yeah, I think you might be right. It might have been just 800, but there certainly isn't. I'd argue that the first one is better than this in many ways, at least in my opinion.
I think it is.
I agree.
You know, I think the pose on this one's a little bit wonky, but
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's too twisted, I think.
I don't know. There's something off about it to me.
But I just don't understand the $1,200 value here.
And there is no switch outs.
Right.
I mean, if this was third scale, sure.
Is this the one where we were saying that the shield is inaccurate because the shield was supposed to be a whole shield at that point?
They have a whole shield. Maybe I don't have a photo of it. There's a whole shield and a broken shield.
Okay.
I don't have it. Sorry. I try my best to get all these photos together for you guys. I apologize when I don't have all of them, but
That's right. We could use our imagination.
yeah, just pretend like there's a full shield right there. That's right. But anyway, yeah. So I haven't heard very much buzz about this one. So, but it does look good. I think the art looks good. They also have a 1/10 scale Dark Side. We've seen this one teased a couple of times. It's up for pre-order right now at Sideshow. This one's going to be pretty big. Any comments?
He's on Steppenwolf's head, right?
I think so, yeah.
Is that
Or at
his
least
head?
something. Like a bone. It might be his head.
Looks like a hollow head.
It's a very small part of his head. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
That,
maybe
that
raw,
doesn't look like a head.
like
Yeah, it
a
looks
dog
weird.
rawhide chew.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that looks like to me. Probably some
Yeah.
bones of something.
It's one of those things that ends up in your bed.
That's right. But I think the texturing looks good here.
Yeah, it looks good.
Real nice for 110.
Fix Steppenwolf's head. We're good.
Oh, I didn't grab the lightened up Eric pictures. Thank you for always doing that, by the way. But I can't remember. Who is this? This is,
Maestro.
Maestro.
yeah, from XM. This
Yep.
is quarter, right? I think.
I'm assuming
I hope so. Otherwise, it would be massive.
Yeah, I think it's quarter.
This is going to be big. Just
Big
as it is.
piece. Yeah, real big piece. So just kind of a teaser from XM. Sang did post some photos today. This is that Hellraiser, right? Or not Hellraiser.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Thank you.
Ghost
I think I say Hellraiser every time. But just to see some of the paint work with the horse.
That's cool.
So they're continuing to tweak it.
That's an interesting choice
It is.
to do this version of Ghost Rider.
It is. I do think it'll be popular. Just with what I've seen so far. Their OG piece is a grail.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for sure. This was, I think, their Lobo. Some of the paint that they're tweaking on the Lobo piece. It's going to be quite a piece also. They teased a cheetah paint. I think that looks really good. I'm pretty concerned about that seam right there. But that, again, this is just prototype. So
Yeah. Looks cool.
this was teased by Aang also. I'm not sure who this is. But definitely has got my attention. Should we zoom in?
Let's see. See if anybody knows in the chat.
It's got to be a video game piece, right?
It's Brittany, bitch.
What did you say?
It's Brittany, bitch.
That's hilarious. If anybody in the chat knows.
Seems like nobody knows. Okay.
I think that like did they do an Aphrodite something? I feel like this goes with whatever that other character they've already teased. So it's like a secondary character.
Yeah, somebody said Aphrodite, Ryan.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I had it all along. Then,
Said he thinks.
Yeah. This was also that scroll painted up. So we hadn't really seen it painted yet. We just had seen some renders. So I think the colors are looking pretty good on him.
That looks cool right there.
Yeah.
I like that Minnie Mouse.
Oh, yeah. Got some Disney represented back there. We talked about McFarlane earlier. They're doing a line of toys from the new Batman movie. So, be on the lookout for those. And also, they're resurrecting, we've talked about on the channel before, some of the black and white pieces and also some other pieces. So this new Joker right here, we got a Capullo Joker.
He's 1/10. I wished it had been 1/6.
Me too. I wish it had been too. I think it'd be really cool to add to the collection. But I do think it looks cool. So anyway, that's again coming from McFarlane. There's the bigger statue, like we showed the Batman one earlier. So this is obviously the Riddler. So that'll be cool.
He is seriously loving that duct tape.
He sure is. Iron Studios also announced that they were doing things from the Batman. They're also going to do things from Black Adam. They're going to be doing things from Shazam and also the Flash. So that makes me very, very excited for a potential Michael Keaton Batman.
It'll be interesting to see if Iron Studios is doing quarter scale Batman from the Batman movie. And if they beat Prime 1 to the punch with, I think it's going to be super, super popular. I know I'm not being very risky by saying that, but I think whichever statue company comes to market first with a good Battinson piece is going to make some hay.
Well, you know how much I love Prime 1. We talked about that Jim Lee piece.
Yeah.
With the Robert Pattinson head. We were talking about it in our chat earlier today. And without a doubt, I think Iron Studios will hit first. Yeah. Even though Prime 1 teased that 7 months ago, I don't think we'll see that out for another 3 years or two to 3 years.
That's the problem.
And that's the problem. I think Iron Studios.
They should be putting it out to order now.
Yeah.
And they should be working on them.
Which is what XM's doing right now. XM is doing these things where they've already been working on in the factories before they even show the pre-order. And that is risky, but they're going to get those in collectors' hands very, very quickly. In some cases by the end of this year, especially if they can get it shipped here or wherever. But I think if companies play it right and they can kind of judge the popularity, yes, there is going to be risk there, but I guarantee that Iron Studios will get this out first. But anyway, I thought that was exciting that they announced some of those. Want to show a little bit of Hot Toys love. Did you guys see this Loki?
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the sculpt?
Nah, the 1/6 community thinks that's the best one. I think it could be.
I think it's good. I think it's, very, very close. It might be a little off, but I think it looks very good.
I think that's their best one.
Yeah, there's no doubt who it is. I think this one will be real popular among collectors. Obviously, you get some different, clothing options. You can have the jacket. It looks really good. And then they also had, I can't remember, Sylvie as well. And she looks good.
That looks good.
Yeah, I think she's even closer than he is with her portrait. But
do those knives really float? Because that would be amazing.
It's magic. They have special magnets in there.
There's some fishing string up.
They do.
Yeah. It's like when Prime 1 teased that Zatanna, had that skull floating, but it never happened. It's like, just put a damn magnet in it. It'd be so cool. If they can float a DeLorean, like those little cars that they could float a little skull or some knives. It'd be pretty neat.
I think Iron Studios, that one would be floating.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been cool. Especially at that price point. But here they are together, and I think they look really good. XM also teased this incredible piece. This is this is going to be massive. So this is their basically their like Hulkbuster size. I just lost the name of him. It's Iron, not Iron. War Machine. Iron Patriot, but yeah, War Machine.
Warbuster, I think it's called or something.
Yeah, this is going to be very popular.
It's like the Hulkbuster, but with giant guns on it.
Yeah,
it's going to be massive.
It's going to be insane. But XM has teased that. Prime One is coming out with their half scale finally. My question to you guys, is it a little bit too late?
Yeah, thinking that.
That ship has sailed, and it looks like Anne Hathaway.
It does look like Anne Hathaway. Yeah.
I do see Gal there, but I don't think it's. I don't know if it's there enough.
That other photo really looked like Anne Hathaway.
I just have a hard time buying a statue that I can't even get through the movie.
That movie was hard.
Good point. Good point. Dan, good point.
Artistically, it's very nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can appreciate the armor. It looks really, really nice.
Yeah, cool. The armor looks great.
The thing about it is that, you know, the face is the only thing.
Yeah.
That's, you know, that's 95% of the thing.
Yep, that's for
and
sure.
It seems a little. I'm sure they'll work on it.
Yeah,
it's difficult. It's difficult because, like Jeff said, it's the only thing that you cannot miss.
Yeah,
it's the face. Have to be 100% or 95% Gal Gadot. That's for sure.
The armor could be 10% off.
It's got to be even more. It's got to be even more than 99 or 90% because it's half scale.
Yep.
You know, really? It's like you can get away with this at 4 scale maybe, but you can't get away with that at half scale. I mean, half scale is massive.
Depending on the angle, it looks more like Gal Gadot, but half scale have to be. I mean, you have to really,
got to be perfect. This looks like it's real hair. I don't know if Prime One is going to go the silicone route. I don't think they are.
It doesn't look like polystone.
It doesn't look like polystone to me. This definitely looks punched. So it'll be real interesting to follow that because this would be the first silicone piece that Prime One's ever done. If that's the case, they are using obviously the real hair like they did with the their other half scale that they did. It also reminds me a lot of the J&D piece. The pose is very similar, but
the
if it
looks more screen accurate than I thought. The J&D looked a little brassy.
I agree. I think it's very, very good color wise. But again, I just don't know how popular this will be because that movie didn't do well. And again, they teased this a very long time ago before this movie even came out. So I don't know why they're just showing it now for pre-order. I just don't know if it'll do great. But I mean, maybe Prime One's planned on that. I don't know. But cool base.
Yeah.
Well, or it says 84. I was going to say, is there any chance it comes back in the trilogy? But it says 84 on it. So
yeah, I don't see it happening. But anyway, the costume looks good. I threw this one in. This one's starting to get into collectors' hands. This is again from Iron Studios. It's 1/10 scale. And surprise, surprise, we have a review coming up soon with this piece.
It looks pretty good.
I think it looks pretty good. For 1/10, it's not bad. It could have been better likeness wise, but again, at that scale, I think that's
those are tiny. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Better than some quarter scale Jokers I've seen.
I agree. I think that it's not 100% there, but you can tell that it's definitely some Heath there. So anyway, congratulations to collectors that are getting this one in hand. I do like the base.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. Obviously, this is based off the playing card. So something different for sure. I threw a couple photos in here. This is finally shipping and in hand. What do you guys think of this Harley? This is 1/6 scale from XM. I think it turned out pretty good. Paint could be better on her eyes.
Yeah.
And her eyebrows.
It's hard to go by just one person's photos. Sometimes the photos are not the greatest.
Yeah, it is, and it's very difficult. But and again, this is a smaller scale, so We're zoomed in on her, which
Yeah.
is, she would be much smaller in person, but I do think she looks good.
It's not easy to sculpt a female face with the tongue out like that
Yeah.
and make it likable. It's really difficult. It's a
Mhm.
challenge, really a challenge. It's a risk that you take. It seems to be like, I don't know. It's the tongue is difficult. It's really difficult. That's why you don't see a lot of statues with people with the mouth open and the tongue out. It's really difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. I'm just trying to think how close it is to the prototype they show, because the prototype is really nice.
Yeah. I threw in some of these photos. Did you guys see this today of the 1/10 scale? This is from Mattel. We don't cover toys on here very often, but I thought this was pretty awesome. It smokes. It's got it actually the guy the figure shifts gears.
How does that happen?
I don't know, but it's incredible the way it looks. $500 though.
Oof.
Yeah, $500.
Yeah, I was watching that video.
The base that came with it.
Yeah, the base is really cool.
I mean, that's.
I don't think I have
cool.
I don't have a photo of it, but it's like the Bat Cave. It's got
Yeah,
LED light ups
up on a lift, and
so this is like Jeff. You have the same one. It's the like the Justice League RC car. I think when that first came out, that was like $500, and then like a year or two later, it dropped down to like under 200. So
you could find them at Costco every now and then for a couple hundred.
So I would imagine that that'll be the same case because I thought about doing the same thing, but I wasn't going to pay $500 at the time. But then I thought, think how much my Iron Studios Batmobile is. But how cool would that be to have a collection of 1/10 scale Batmobile? So I don't know. It would be.
Jeff, you might know better than me, but wasn't the Justice League also 500 when it was first announced, or somewhere around?
It was close to it.
Yeah. So yeah, might as well.
But it's huge.
Yeah, it's a big piece.
That car's huge.
So those are my photos that I have for you guys this week. Anything stand out for you guys that you thought was awesome? Obviously, Dan's did order one of those.
Just going by what we saw at the end, I still like that Sean Murphy White Knight bike.
Yeah. I feel like
if I won a lottery.
I think like what you said about Gabrielle earlier, like we need to buy a house just to have the statues in and then live somewhere else. Because
the boxes too.
Because we just don't have the room for all this stuff. It's obviously companies are fighting for bigger and better, which again makes me appreciate a company like Tweeterhead for doing smaller things because they don't take up as much space and they're a lot easier on the wallet.
Yep.
For sure. I just want to thank you so very much again for coming on the show. It has been just such an honor. We love having artists on the channel and being able to, hear the behind the scenes of what goes on in the process because every artist is different. And it's just been so enlightening tonight. And again, it's just meant the world to us that you came on Rogues Gallery Live.
For me, it's a tremendous pleasure to have been invited to be here. The collectors, the artists, especially the artists, need spaces like this. Hopefully you guys are gonna be doing this even more often because we really need that. We really need to put our voices and our history behind. It's when the statue goes out. And we don't get the chance to talk about that. So it's not enough to have your name put there like, yeah, you sculpted that and that's it. Yeah. I'm not a machine. I'm not a printing machine. I am an artist. I have story behind that. And like you said, it's not just, I think it's cool as a collector that if I have guests in my house and I can show this Batman, whatever it is that I'm showing to them, let me share it with you a story behind this. It's not just a TV. It's not just a frame or a statue, marble, whatever. It is way cooler if you have a story behind that.
Yeah.
Way cooler. So for industry, if the industry or the companies do not want to spend the time to do that, it is you guys, the collectors, that can really, really appreciate the art that we put out there. Or behind each one of the statues. And I have not, I cannot thank you enough for this invitation. Hopefully it will repeat in the future. It's been really a pleasure to be here. Again, from my heart, thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, and we would love to have you on again. Absolutely, to talk more, especially as you know, we can't wait to see what new pieces you come up with. And and I know you can't talk about things, but are you working on anything currently?
Yes, for sure, for sure. I am lucky enough to be working on some other statues, and yes, I cannot talk about that.
Can you say what companies?
Yeah, Tweeterhead for sure.
Okay, all right.
Tweeterhead, Tweeterhead all the way. I love Tweeterhead. I'll die with Tweeterhead for sure. For sure. Let me tell you this. I got COVID this year in March, and those guys support me.
Nice.
I cannot tell you how. You might for sure guess, but those guys were there. David and Chad. They were. What do you need? What can we do for you and your family? Not many companies do that.
Yeah.
Not many companies do that. And remember, I am a freelance artist. So they just could say, "Oh, be well. We wait for you." Or even because this is business, we will take the project that you've been working so far, and you haven't come back from the hospital. We need to finish it up and give it to another one. They didn't do that. They wait for me. So, and that's just one example of how good they have been with me. So it's amazing to work with them, and all to the end with Tweeterhead.
Well, that is just wonderful to hear, and again, we're just very excited to see where your career goes, and all the amazing projects that we know that's coming from you. And again, it's just been a very, very big honor to have you on the show. And so we will start to wrap things up. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to say before we say goodnight?
I think we've said it all.
Okay. I do want to plug that next Wednesday, the gallery is going to look very different because we are going to have our second annual Halloween show. And so last year was pretty creepy. We saw definitely some interesting costumes. So definitely tune in on Wednesday for our Halloween show. And we'll have all sorts of ghoulish frights as we enjoy the show and talk about collecting with all of you fine folks. So again, thank you very much again for being here. Really, again, it just means the world to us. And thank you to everybody in the chat that's watched tonight and asked questions. We can't do the show without you guys watching and interacting with us, and that's why we do this. And so definitely tune in next Wednesday for Rogues Gallery Live. And as always, we'll see you next time. You guys want to stay with me? In the back cave.
In the back cave.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.